Graham, welcome to Swansea City. What's it feel like to be here at last?
Thank you very much. Very, very excited, very proud. Can't wait to get going. Start. It's a fantastic opportunity, and one we're going to just do our best every day to make people proud.
You're obviously a very persuasive man because you've spent 7.5 years obviously doing a great job in Sweden. Your family was there. You persuaded your wife to up sticks, bring the family here to a club which has had 6 managers in just over 2 years. That's quite a risk, isn't it?
It is in some ways when you just articulate it in that way, of course, and that's probably why the process, takes some time. You have to understand what's happened, what the ideas are going forward, and it's pretty much the same with when I moved to Östersund. The club there sort of had 6 or 7 managers in 5 years before, so I'm used to that to a certain extent. My job is to try to create a bit of stability, to bring people together, to understand what's happened, and understand the frustration and the disappointment that is around, but to try to say, okay, well, we want to use this to maybe, so when we look back, it could be one of the best things that happened to the club. We have to try to turn it in that way and start. But we're really excited, like I said, and thankfully I did persuade my wife. I've persuaded her a couple of times now, so she's very supportive.
So is that persuasion something that you learnt in your leadership course?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think you've just got to try and be yourself. I think and see things for what they are. I think this football club has, in the communication that I've had, understands that it's sort of made mistakes and has understood that it's in a position where it's lost something that it was very, very proud of, and we want to try and get it back. So my job is to try to create an environment here that players understand, that are proud of, that want to come and enjoy their football, that can try, that can believe they can win, and then to try to transfer that from here and onto the pitch so the supporters can enjoy coming and watching us play football.
You've come up, people have said just in the press conference today, through a fairly sort of unconventional route. You've obviously got an academic background. How important has that been in terms of your own development as a coach and as a manager?
Well, I just had 13 years as a professional footballer and I had lots of great experiences, some ups and lots of downs. And I felt that the process that I had in the higher education sector was 5 years in a great environment, a learning environment, where I could start to put some theory and some understanding on my own experiences, my own subjectivity. So it was great. It was more I'm a big believer that you need to be able to make mistakes while you're developing. You need to be in an environment where you can learn from what's happened and take that responsibility, and the university sector gave me that opportunity to do that. I think if I'd have gone straight from playing into coaching in the professional game, you can't make too many mistakes. It's your job's on the line, and therefore you can be not maybe as creative or as brave as you'd like to be. So that whole period was really, really important for me, I think.
And in terms of how you teach the players and how the players learn, what kind of transferable skills do you think you're going to be able to bring to them in this sort of an environment?
Well, fundamentally, we want to try and put them into situations where they can make decisions on the pitch with confidence, because ultimately the game of football is a player's game. We have an influence as coaches in terms of the environment, but we want to be able to give them the confidence and the motivation and the skill set to be able to make good decisions, but have the confidence and the motivation and the responsibility to do that. That's the main aim. It sounds quite simple, but it's a process of a lot of work, a lot of trust, and it's about the environment that we have here.
And creating that environment, you talked a little bit in the press conference again about taking the club back to the Swansea way of playing, etc. But that culture has definitely been eroded over the course of, just in terms of managerial changes, it stands to reason that that's going to happen. So what would your message to the fans be who maybe wouldn't have the same viewpoint that being relegated is necessarily in the long term a good thing for the club.
Well, we have to try to use it to and convince people that it can be, and only time will tell with that. Of course, I understand we'd all rather be, Swansea City supporters would rather be in the Premier League, and the frustration and that disappointment is normal and natural. But we have to try and turn it into a positive. We have to try to start again. We have to understand what we've lost. We have to understand why we lost it, and then we have to try to say, okay, what is our values? What are we looking for in the people that we're bringing here? What are we looking for as people? What we're looking for as footballers? And then ultimately, when they're here, how can we help them improve? That was a big thing about what Swansea did well. They aligned the playing style, they aligned the recruitment, and then when they were here, they tried to improve players. And you need the supporters for that, because the environment, the most important people at the football club are supporters and the players. That relationship between the two is so crucial. So we need to try and build that, and we know it's not easy because people are frustrated and people are disappointed, and my job is to try and work hard every day. I can't promise being a magician, I can't promise being a miracle worker, but I promise to be hard-working and honest and be myself and see how it is and do my best.
You're a Potter, so we're expecting great things from you, obviously.
I'll let you have that one.
Also, in terms of there's always been quite a strong community feel to this club. Sometimes that's difficult in the Premier League, and maybe it'll be difficult in the Championship to get back to that sort of sense of we're all in this together. Is that part of your philosophy ultimately?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think, you know, it's all very well managers and players talking about asking for patience, but ultimately you have to try to give something back as well. And I think it's a two-way relationship. If supporters understand that the players are human beings as well, they've got families and they're trying their best. No one wants to go out there and play badly. No one wants to go out there and lose. I don't believe footballers want to do that. But ultimately it's a two-way thing. We need to give back, and you have to build bridges, you have to build relationships. But I'm not naive. I know football supporters pay their money and they want to see a team play football and win. But I think that part of the long-term strategy should be to have a feeling where we've got a really unique environment here, where we are. Our location can work, I think, for us if we have that togetherness, if we have that unity. I think it's going to be very, very powerful. So, of course, we want to be able to use that.
And it's difficult when you come into a club, isn't it? Because you don't know the history in the same way as the fans do, and you don't have that level of buy-in, and neither do most of the players really. But here, there's definitely been that philosophy where people like Alan Curtis, Leon Britton now, Lee Trundle, those guys play a significant part in terms of the identity of the club. Are they part of your strategy to sort of keep that community feel going? Will you sit down with people like them and talk about the old Swansea days, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're a resource that it would be foolish not to use. Like you said, an understanding of the club, all those guys that you've mentioned know Swansea City as well as anybody, and have experienced a lot. So I'm trying to bring things together, and I want to be able to use as many people as I can with a love for the club. That's the message I would have. It's not about me dictating anything down. It's trying to create that feeling together, that club mentality.
And what's your plan likely to be? How's your timetable looking between now and the players coming back?
A lot of planning, a lot of assessing the group. We've probably got a meeting over in the States at some point. So a lot have been based here, trying to relocate the family across, get settled in as quickly as possible, so that when the guys are back, we hit the ground running. You know, planning of the workload for when we start pre-season, and just the concepts that we want to try and introduce. And when I articulate it, there's a lot to do.
And obviously you're not going to tell me who you want to keep and who you want to lose, etc. But I guess it's all part of that process, isn't it? Not everybody's going to be able to stay. Not everybody's probably going to want to stay. And you're going to have plans about who you want to bring in. How quickly are you going to be able to make those changes?
Well, I can't give you a timescale on it, is the reality. But again, I think you're right. It's a process. We have to assess who wants to be here fundamentally, who wants to be proud to play for Swansea City. That's really important, and at the same time understand that anybody that leaves on the sort of club's sort of terms in a sensible way. The quicker that happens, the better for us in terms of being able to, make our own movements. But at the same time, it's an aligned process, the one that will be fluid. We have to sort of get as much information as we can to make the good decisions. That's the key. It's not about quick decisions, it's about good decisions.
Your former club was obviously disappointed to lose you. What would you like your legacy to be when hopefully in maybe even 7.5 years you move on from this club? Let's hope it's not in the next year.
Well, if people have the same sort of response that I've had in Östersund, then I know that I'll be very, very happy, and I'm very, very proud. What I've done there and sort of the part that I've played there, should I say, it fills me with great pride. But again, it's not necessarily about me. It's not about what people think of me. It's about the football club. It's about what we can create here, and I want to be able to start to build something that people are excited about, that people are proud of again, understand the history, understand the troubles that we've had, and then see it as a way to go forward. So that's what we're trying to do.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.